Hello, I'm DeDe. In this 30-minute session, we'll do breathing exercises, movements, and poses which emphasize our core. Core awareness, core strength, and core activation. Having a stronger core makes us better at everything we do, because almost everything we do involves our core in some way or another. Our core is everything except our head, our arms, and our legs. So basically our entire torso. So here's what you'll need. A yoga mat, especially if you're on a harder floor, definitely get a yoga mat. If you're on carpet, you might not need one. You'll need a small towel for padding under your knees and some water for hydration. We want to always be hydrated. Feel free to take off your shoes and socks. Make sure you have plenty of room around you. And remember to always move at your own mindful pace. So keep paying attention. Okay, let's begin. We're going to come down into a seated position. So if sitting on the floor doesn't work that well for you, you can sit in a chair as an alternative. If sitting on the floor is good but not great, meaning you feel discomfort in your hips or your knees or your ankles or all of those, or if you have trouble sitting upright, then try sitting up on a slightly elevated surface, like the front edge of your folded towel. See if that makes you more comfortable. So whether you're sitting here with me or you're sitting in a chair, go ahead and sit. Sitting up straight and tall, as we usually do, so we're already starting to recruit some of our core muscles. Sitting up tall recruits a lot of your postural core muscles. Sit with your legs folded, and if your knees are up, you can move your feet further forward so your knees can drop down a little bit more. Sitting up, as I said a moment ago, on that elevated surface, that should help your knees drop down a little bit more than sitting flat on the floor. Sitting up with the head directly over the shoulders and the shoulders directly over the pelvis, as if you had a tall back of your chair and you were right up against it. And then for just a moment, place one hand on your abdomen and one hand on your chest. And then if you'd like, close your eyes and let's do some focused breathing. Just breathe in and out through your nose a couple rounds. Start to notice whatever you notice. So even though we're sitting up straight and tall and we're using some of our postural muscles in our core, try to relax your abdominal muscles enough so you can start to feel the rise and the fall of your breath on your lower hand, the hand that's down on your abdomen. At the beginning of the inhale, your lower hand will move first, and then your rib cage moves and expands, and then your chest lifts a little bit at the end of the inhale, and then we exhale completely through the nose, and then we start again. So this intentional direction of the inhale, this intentional starting of the inhale lower in the torso, that builds core awareness. It builds strength but suppleness at the same time. And it helps calm the nervous system and the mind down. It's a great place to start our core emphasized session. All right, if your eyes are closed now, you can let them open. Let's keep breathing as if we had our hands on our body, but we won't have our hands on our body. And if you're sitting with your legs crossed, cross them the other way like I just did. All right, we still have our upright posture. Let's inhale, take your arms out, and then as you exhale, slide the arms round to the front. Inhale, thumbs up. And then exhale, little fingers come together. Open the chest. And then squeeze the chest muscles here. Try to go past your body with your arms if you can. Can your arms go a little bit higher, a little further away from the floor? One more of those. The biggest one you've done so far. All right, now take your arms just straight out to the side. Inhale, and then exhale over to one side. And we'll come back to the center. When you're ready, inhale. When you're ready, exhale. So now starting to limber and stretch a little bit through the muscles in our waist and our low back, our shoulder. Your supporting arm, the elbow bends, but your opposite hip stays anchored. So try not to tip your whole body over, just your upper body. One more. And then we hold on to our shins here. Inhale, lift your chest a little bit, and then on the exhale, just let it drop down. Just a small amount. And then do it again. Inhale, stretch your belly a little bit. Exhale, just a little shortening of your belly. And again. Use your arms to help draw your chest forward. And then relax back. One more. And then just sit up tall. Let's reverse our legs one more time. Then we'll take the arms out and inhale, thumbs up. Exhale, look over your shoulder. And then back to center. Inhale. Let's go the other way. Breathing in and breathing out. See how far you can rotate on your own, and then use your arm and feel the rotation. Some of the core muscles that help us rotate are internal and external obliques. Let's do one more each way. If you exhale as you twist, it gives you more space to turn, more space inside your body. And then we'll come back to the center. Roll your shoulders up and back and down. And now I'm going to turn to the side. I'm not going to sit on this elevated surface. You might not need to either. Turning sideways is your option. You can still face me if you want. So let's bend our knees, separate the feet, and have the hands underneath the shoulders. Fingertips or fists. Those are good options. Inhale. On the exhale, your knees go to one side and then your body turns past that or whatever's behind you. And then inhale to the center. Let's go the other way for the exhale. So one of the best ways to work our core in terms of strength, endurance, and awareness is to have different relationships to gravity and support the body weight. So we'll be doing some stuff face down. We'll be doing some stuff face up. And we'll be doing some things facing sideways to the floor, so we can address all the way around our core from every direction, so we can be strong all over our core. All right, coming back to the center now. Let's begin with our extra padding underneath our forearm. So I invite you to join me here. You're on your mat or whatever you're using underneath you. You have your elbow directly down from your shoulder, and then you have your body in a straight line. So your thighs, your chest, your forehead, those are all basically in a straight line. Your feet are just resting behind you. Take your top hand in front at first. Again, it can be fist or fingertips or palm. Now here's the challenging part. Push your forearm down and lift your hips up. And then we'll stay here and breathe. Shoulders are down, so the neck is long. You're turning to face. Try not to be here, and see if you can get lighter on your hand. You may have to be up on your fingertips or fists, because now your hips are up. It's harder to reach the ground without turning. And if you don't need your hand on the ground, it's just very lightly resting there, if you don't need to push with it. All right, let's come down. Now, I don't want to turn my back to you, so I'm just going to flip around to this side. You can do the same thing if you want. And here we are. Straight line. Make sure you're not too far away from your elbow with your hips. Make sure you're facing straight out to the side with your navel and your heart. And then here we go. We lift up. Fingertips resting lightly. Now this is more challenging. If you don't need your hand on the floor, put your hand on your body. That way you have to support the weight of your arm as well as the rest of your body. Is your neck still long out of your shoulders? It should be. So which parts of your core can you feel working right now? Your shoulder, maybe your waist, maybe your abdominals and your back muscles? All right, and then we come down and we'll do another round. So switch sides. Body's in a straight line. I'll give you some more challenging options this time if you want them. Let's lift up, arm up, and then maybe leg out. Maybe your foot's on the ground, maybe your foot's lifted. Make sure you have enough padding under your forearm and your knee. Let your breath continue to flow. All right, we're coming down. We're changing sides once again. Ready? Up. Maybe your arm, maybe your leg with your foot on the floor, maybe your leg is up. Flex your foot if your leg is lifted. Push out through your heel. So as the demand for oxygen goes up, because we're working, your breathing rate will increase. So you can probably feel that starting to happen. And then we come all the way down. Now you might need the extra padding under your knees. Let's go to our hands and knees. Separate your knees wider if you need to for child's pose. Sit back as far as you can with your hips toward your heels. And then rest your forehead on your hands. Either stack your fists or stack your flat hands. Or rest all the way down on the floor with your forehead. Now let's come up. Hands and knees position. Feel free to circle around through your wrists a couple times here if that makes your flat hand position more comfortable. And again, that same fist option if you need it. Shoulders away from ears, body is braced. Let's wag the dog now. So that means our hips go to one side and our shoulders go to the opposite side. And then we come back to the center and we do the same thing going the opposite direction. Keep your back long and straight while you're here. We're just simply changing direction with our shoulder and hip. We're not side bending or arching or rounding. Staying neutral. And then we'll come back to the center. Now inhale, lift your tailbone just a little bit. And then exhale, tuck your tailbone under just a little bit. Try that with me. You feel the stretch in your abdomen here, and then a little stretch through your low back. One more time, then we're moving back into our child's pose. So as you exhale this time, come on back into child's pose. Feel free to move your knees wider apart if you need to. All right, from your child's pose, extend your arms fully forward. So as far forward as they can go. Palms are flat, or you can be up on your fists. Let's come forward into this kneeling version of plank now. Make a long straight line from the crown of your head through your knees. Push the ground away evenly with your hands. And keep your elbows slightly unlocked. Can you feel how hard we're working here? Even though we're on the knees, it's still quite a bit of work for our shoulders, our arms, and our core muscles. Try not to sag in the middle like this, and try not to have your hips too far back. Try to drop into a straighter line. If you have a mirror, it's helpful to check your form. All right, let's come back about halfway. And then inhale. As you exhale, pick up one hand and reach through. So you're dropping down, you're twisting. That's called thread the needle. Let's inhale, come back up to the center, both hands slightly forward. And then we'll do the same thing with the other arm. As you exhale to the other side. Well, let's do it again. And then all the way back into child's pose we go. Keep the arms extended this time if you can. Of course, if you need one or both hands under your forehead, go ahead and bend your elbows to do that. Okay, next we come forward, just like we're getting ready to do that kneeling plank again, but instead we drop down onto one elbow and then the other elbow. Now, if that's not enough padding for your elbows, fold your mat over and give yourself more padding. But otherwise, here we are. Let your neck emerge long out of your shoulders. Keep drawing your pelvis away from the floor, but at the same time, tuck your pelvis under and lift your chest away from the ground as much as you can. You're still breathing. Just a couple more breaths here. All right, now we're coming to our hands and knees. And we're sitting slowly back. Now your hands are still about shoulder width distance apart. And then from here, take your right hand and place it on top of your left hand And then drop down. So we're getting a little stretch through some of the core muscles that we just worked. And then we'll lift the head. We'll take the hands back out to shoulder width. And then we'll put the left hand on top of the right, and we'll drop down. Now, if you're doing this with your hips up higher, that works fine. And then take your hands back to shoulder width distance apart. Now, if you're able to, without too much discomfort, come up on the tips of your fingers and your thumbs as you're in your child's pose this time. That's a little more stretch for the shoulders. Can you feel it? And then drop down onto your palms. Now we need this extra padding underneath the bony part of our pelvis. So we're going to lie down. Make sure you put it in the right spot. So you have extra padding underneath that bony part of your pelvis. So below your navel and above your legs. Right in there. And then we'll come into this static cobra where we just hold still. Elbows directly under shoulders. Hands out in front if you want your hands together or apart. Either way works fine. Make your legs narrow. And then shoulders away from ears. Draw the heart forward. Keep breathing. And then we're coming down. You might want to look first before you go. We're taking our thumbs next to our chest. So here's what I want to show you. We're lifting the face and the chest and lowering down. That's cobra. So join me now with your hands next to your chest, lifting up on the inhales, lowering down on the exhales. This is a simple but very challenging motion. It strengthens some of the key muscles of our core. Our mid to low back. The stronger that is, the stronger we can be in all sorts of activities. Now, just a reminder, I know it looks like we're pushing ourselves up with our arms, but we are actually pulling ourselves up with our back muscles. So elbows pointing towards your feet, hands are light. We're not using our arms. All right, then we have one more. And then we push up to hands and knees. Go ahead and bring your knees back on the padding. And then ease yourself back. You can do a higher child's pose at first. You can drop down on your elbows when you're ready. And then when your back feels ready to go all the way back to child's pose, then you make your way back there. And stay there for a moment and breathe. You should feel some fatigue in some of these key muscles that we've been using. Right now, probably your mid to low back muscles might feel fatigued. We want fatigue because that's how we become stronger, when we challenge our muscles to fatigue. All right, and then we're coming up. We have one more hands and knees set of exercises to do. So start here with your neutral spine, abdominals pulled in, hands underneath shoulders, fists are fine. Make sure that your tailbone is not lifted up or tucked under, it's just neutral. And then we'll start with the legs. So extend one leg back, press out through the heel, and then bring it back down, and try the other leg. Now, if you're okay with doing that plus the opposite arm, then you'll add the opposite arm with your thumb facing up on the straight arm side. The arm that's reaching, the thumb is up. Now try to do this without changing the shape of your back. You're not moving your head and neck. Everything's staying in that table-like position. Okay, now reach your arm and leg, whichever one you're on, it doesn't matter, and hold. Make sure your hips are not tipping way up in the air. Make them level to the floor. Shoulders are not bunching up near the ears. Your foot is flexed. You're reaching out through your fingertips and your heel. And then come on down. Make sure you keep breathing your way through this. Leg and arm on the opposite side now. Stay here. Hold your abdominal muscles in to help your back stay stable. You can feel both sides of your torso contracting here, I hope. And then let's come down. Now, we're coming back to our seated position. Feel free to sit up on your folded towel if you need to be comfortable as you're seated. And then cross one leg in front of the other. Take your feet further out in front of you if you need to. Now let's inhale, and on the exhale, we're coming forward. Sometimes it helps to push from the back with your hands to be able to come forward. If you feel like you can get there with one hand behind you, bring one hand in front. And if both hands in front works for you, then go there. So look for the stretch in your low back, maybe into your hips as well. And relax the shoulders. And then help yourself up. Now we'll reverse the legs because that changes the stretch a little bit in the back of our body. And then start to come forward. One or both hands behind you or in front of you. Can you feel the stretch? Try to take it to the point where it still feels good, but it's powerful. All right, and then we're coming up. Now I'm going to face you. You can stay where you are, or you can face me if you're not already. Let's reverse the legs once again. And then inhale, exhale over to one side, and stay here for a bit. Remember to keep your opposite hip heavy. As you're leaning away from it, it stays in the stretch, and you don't start to tilt all the way over. And then we're coming up, and then we twist. So take your hand that was up, take it across your body, and look over your shoulder on that side. And then we'll come back to the center. One more time, switch your legs. And we'll do our side bend. So inhale and exhale over. You can assist the stretch by breathing into the side that's lengthening. So for me, it's my side over here. So I'm breathing into that side more consciously. You could do the same. All right, and then your arm that's up, you're upright, that arm comes across, and we look over. And then let's come around to the front. Now roll your shoulders up and back and down. All right, so how do you feel now? Training our core is a lifetime endeavor. We can train our core every day safely, and it'll just get stronger and stronger. It's worth the lifetime endeavor because the stronger our core, the stronger the rest of our limbs can be. So thanks for being here with me, but as always, thank yourself for being here and treating yourself well. I'll see you next time.